So anyway, let's really kind of discuss a little bit because you brought out very, very interesting questions, and I really want us to explore because the goal of the work we do is to learn something, to be transformed by it, to become a wise man, a wise person, um, who understand what is going on, but who also knows that there is a lot more, to just what we see. So for me, that is what is important. So I want us to discuss those relevant questions as opposed to, rush through the book. So the first question for me is fascinating. Where am I at in the midst of that? I really want you to kind of tell me a little bit what you mean by that, because I might understand it differently, but I think it's a very important question. Like, because it shows me your inner struggle, your personal struggle in many ways. It can be identity, it can be cultural, it can be social, political, academic, religious. It can be anything. But because we're discussing so many things, and you're like, okay, there's just so much information and so many things that I'm learning, and how does that affect me? Where am I? What am I supposed to do with all of that? So that's how I understand the question. So I want you to kind of elaborate that a little bit more, so we delve into it. I think, yeah, thanks for sharing, because I think ever since we started working together, I think this is, if it's not the first time, maybe the second time, but not more than second or third time, that you really, really articulate your struggle. You really articulate, the things that move, the things that move through you, and so I think this is one of the few times you do that, and I really, really, because that helps me a lot to kind of have an idea of where you're coming from and where this whole thing is going, and how all these things can help you find some answers. I mean, there is not a silver bullet. There is like not an answer to all the problems in the world or all the problems that you struggle, but there is certainly a perspective that can help you contextualize your experience in a way that you make sense. It makes sense to it, and then feel more grounded and happier with how you are and who you are, regardless of what people say or think. So that's the first thing. But let's yeah, you raise very interesting things. Let's first look at the value systems. I totally understand that whole thing of acting white and that whole thing of if you have access and want to live a decent life, and then definitely there will be some kind of projection to like that's not blah blah blah. I get this. Even myself, before I even went to America, just because of my very nature, when I was staying in Africa, in Cameroon, my way of life was also sometimes described as white. Can you imagine it? Even from Africa. So because mostly like to stay in my room and do my work and have some kind of space to think, reflect, research, and do stuff. And that is something that is very, I can say, un-African, because culturally Africans are not usually alone, and the proximity, the community, and all that is pervasive. So if you have a style of life which is a little different from it, people begin to think like, what is wrong with you? Like something must be wrong with you. And then people will call me, the white, oh, he lives like a white man. He doesn't want to be bothered. He doesn't want, even my own family, my own brother, sister, same father, same mother. My younger brother became a priest, Catholic priest. He always tells me and tells the family, oh, forget about ABD. He just lives like white people. He's just like a white person, just like an American, like he doesn't want to be bothered. He doesn't, he just want to have his space, just want to do his own thing and all that. You see, and in a way, putting me in a box where it means I'm not really African. I'm not really. And my sister last week yelled at me on the phone. Don't forget who you are. You're an African. Stop that crap you're doing. You have to remember that. She started yelling at me all the time. So I get that, so I can relate to what you're saying. Yeah, because even your family will remind you that. Even your community will remind you, like, don't forget who you are. Don't forget where you come from. Don't forget the people you belong to. When you already, swallow all the values and want to live like other people. And it's pervasive. It's there. So I get where you're coming from with that, because I myself go through that. But for me, I just laugh it off because I know who I am. I will never forget who I am. I know where I come from, and I know who I am becoming. So that is not even a doubt in my mind. And I challenge them sometimes, culturally, like that is a very that is a very personal story that I'm going to tell you, which is very emotional, but it's just also in light of clarifying our conversation in terms of that identity crisis. There is a lifestyle in Africa called communitarism. The word is in French, communitarisme, like where when one person is supposed to be for everybody. Like there is no like private belonging or anything like that. So you start with the family and expanding the culture and everything. Like if one person has a pain, it's supposed to be shared by the whole family and community and all that. So, and in my family is very, very pronounced. Sometimes families will come together, especially large family. They will choose one member of the family because of the uniqueness or the unique skills that person has, and the chances that person can have access, whatever that is, maybe travel to America or Europe and have a better life and blah blah, knowing that that person, when that person has access, that person will pull everybody else out of misery. So that is grounded in any African you can find from any country in Africa, whether it's Black Africa or Arab Africa in the north. Doesn't make any difference. I have a friend here. She's French. She's a young girl, 23 years old. She's here for learning Chinese here in Taiwan, in Taipei. I had coffee with her and we're discussing. She was born in Paris, in France, grew up there, went to school there, but her parents are from Northern Africa. Her mom is from Morocco, her father is from Tunisia. And we were discussing cultural stuff. And the same thing she was telling me as an Arab from North Africa, same thing that I experienced, because her family left Morocco and Tunisia for access in France, have better life, and now the whole family that stayed behind looking up to them to send money back to take care of them, to lift them out of misery and all that. And then it begins to trigger some kind of problems, like don't forget who you are, you need to help the other. So it is a lifestyle that is pervasive in Africa. So that is a cultural thing, and you don't really find that in other developed countries, right? So it doesn't matter whether you're from sub-Saharan Black Africa or Mediterranean or the Arabs. So and then I challenge my family, because we've been living like that all the time. Like I've been in America, I've been sending money to my family and help for everything, and sometimes it just doesn't happen enough. But it was still not enough, because I have a very large family. My father was a polygamist with 5 wives. My mom had like 15 children. So we a lot. So a lot of them passed, and we still a lot of us. And everybody has problem, and then they look up to the one person who supposedly has access, which now is supposed to be me. Luckily, my younger brother, who's a priest now, carries that brunt, because while I was still studying to become a priest, I was carrying that brunt, and it was just too much. I was in the state. So But even though we contribute, help, and all that, it still wasn't enough, because then it encourages laziness, because people are just like, oh, I have a brother in the United States, send me money, right? And then they're not fighting for themselves to have access. And then it becomes like everybody now relies on one person. So that is a lifestyle that is accepted, that is normal. If you want to deviate from it, you are the problem. You live like a white. You want to be a white person. You want to not think about family. You want to be so private and independent. Then you ostracize. So that is the foundation of everything like that in Africa. So, and even though I was helping, we still lost a lot of people, due to illness. Like either they reach out to me too late, when I could, because the other reality is, if you're sick, you go to the hospital, the nurse, the doctor will not even see you if you don't have money. The first thing you enter, even if you're dying already, the first thing they ask you is the money to register you and to for the doctor to see you. You have to show money first before they see what is wrong with you. A woman, like, she was pregnant and complicated pregnancy, ran to a hospital, and they didn't even let her in. So because she didn't have the money, so they didn't even let her in. And her sister, who was panicking, wanted to operate on her with a knife that was not even sterilized, and open her heart, and the sister started bleeding and died, and the child even died and everything, outside of one of the biggest hospital in the biggest city in Cameroon. Outside, not far away, but outside there, and blood everywhere. The country was outraged. See, so money is first. Like, so it's just mind-boggling when you think about things like that culturally. So I lost a lot of my siblings like that because of no money readily available, and therefore even my own dad died like that. Like the way when they reached out to me, I was in the state, it was a few days too late, because they didn't have the money to buy the prescriptions that could have kept him alive. When they reached out to me, and by the time I sent the money, it was already too late, right? So, because the last time I talked with him, like, Dad, how can I help? Send money. That was the only thing, because he knew. So there is that reality. So, and despite that, I still lost a lot of siblings due to that. So, and when my brother, who is a priest in my family, now yell at me that I want to live like a white and separate myself and, be in my own corner and everything, not living as an African, sharing everything and all that. And I told my brother, I said, okay, I am not trying to challenge cultural values, because I was born in Cameroon, raised, grew up, and everything there. There's nothing I do not know about our tribe, about our culture, about the Cameroonian culture and everything. I know it all. I grew up there. I know it. There's nothing you can teach me that I don't know about it. But I can teach you some of the things that I've learned living in America that you don't know, because you have not lived in America. So that enriched my worldview. So it's not just because they say white and this and that you have to throw out everything that comes from that worldview. There are some positive things about that, like self-care and self-reliance and all that. It's not that bad. It's not that terrible. But you can combine that with some African value and see how you can fit in the middle. So I asked my brother, okay, now you guys say that I live like a white, I don't want to be bothered anymore or send money or help. How many years have I been helping the family? Like almost every month, sending some money and all that and everything. Like even the money that I don't have, but I would do everything to do something for so many years. Let's just take a minimum of 10 or 15 years. Still, where is our family? We still manage to lose many of our siblings. We're still nowhere, economically speaking, and the family is still relying on one person. If those values were implacable, like those are the values that we need to pursue and go with it forever, because those are our sacred values, and if the end result is that it's not helping anyone, it's making everybody miserable, because I feel the brunt and it's killing me, and it's not pulling everybody out because everybody is looking up to me and nobody wants to focus and do the thing themselves. How is that something that we should keep as sacred values? Where has that led us? My brother was like, that is a very good and very powerful reasonable argument. Like, that makes sense. And because he also studied, he's a priest and he studied all that Western stuff, he also understood that. See, so that is how I counter and challenge the dogma of culture, right? That is how we do, and that's how it's supposed to be. So to now bring that example to the argument you were making, I get that. We need what I see, both you and I and other people, we want to relate more to human values as opposed to identity values or group belonging values and stuff like that. So that is what we crave. That's what we long for. And it's not that we're wrong or they're wrong, but that is just that longing puts us in a place where we don't feel accepted in either group. Our own people who are supposed to be there with us feel like we're not them anymore because we live a weird life. And the other people who also belong to another group, like let's say European centered, also feel like we are not them for many other reasons, physically and everything otherwise. So, and we lost. People like us are lost a little bit because we aim for what connects us more on a human level than other things. And we are up against ideologies, and that's why we suffer. That is why we call one thing on the one side and another thing on the other side, right? So that is a premise. And I don't see anything wrong to, and that has been always my value, even when I was in Africa. I don't see anything wrong to accept some values, even if they come from other ethnics or race, if they are in line with your own worldview in terms of human values. I don't see anything wrong with that. So, but where the problem begins now is, and that's where we get into the heart of your main concern, is when certain values are designed and used ideologically to push a certain ideology, a certain agenda that will favor a minority, a small group of people who are in control of that ideology. That becomes a problem. And that is where we get caught up, because now people from our race, because whether we like it or not, we're black, even if we live white and all that and have all that kind of thing, we will not remove the fact that we're black. Like anywhere you go, you will be put in that box that you're black, like African descent. That is something we have to live with.